Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the starting 11 show. It's Arsenal versus Fulham in the 3 p.m. kick-off Premier League game, our third game of the season. And I think Lee Judge has said exactly a year to the day from the last time we played them at the Emirates.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go, that was last season. All right, big round of applause for everyone. Here on the sofas, you have Mr. Lee Judges, we have Julian, and we have Laurie as well.
And another fact I can give you today, you know what I mean? Like, Gabriel Jesus is making his return against Fulham. Who did he make his return last time he got injured?
Yeah, it was Fulham, but it was Fulham away, and we don't know for definite that he is making his return. Just because Mikel says it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Other than that, you were quite correct.
You've only got 30 minutes.
Yeah, I've only got 30 minutes.
30 minutes to chat away with him.
Yeah.
You get the 11.
I think it's 45.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Who told you that? I'm out of here. I'll get to the Emirates. In fact, we're going to the Emirates. You're off to the Emirates. Laura will be here on the watch along, so everyone make sure you join us for the watch along. We'll be going live 30 minutes before kick-off, and Laurie will be here along with Turkish and many, many others. Let's talk about the starting 11, everyone. That's what we're here to try to predict in the lead up, and we're in a world of social media where things start to get leaked as well in the kind of 10 to 20 minutes before, so I will be rudely on my phone refreshing Twitter for some news. But you just touched on Gabriel Jesus there. Mikel Arteta had a big smirk on his face, a big smile. I remember when we heard that he was having this kind of clean up with his knee, and it was all the, you know, oh wow, they say 3 weeks, it's going to be 6, we know what it's like with Arsenal. But he's back in contention already, Lee.
Well, he's been training for a week, so yeah. So
they kept that quiet?
Yeah, kept that quiet. I imagine that he'll be on the bench, I think, today. Otherwise, why leak it? You know what I mean? He's been training and everything like that. So I do think that he'll be on the bench, and, you know, probably ain't trained hard enough to get into the team. But, yeah.
Imagine if he did start. I mean, Eddie deserves to keep his place, and we will agree. We'll go into the positions in a sec. But imagine that for a just complete shock. Yeah, Jesus is in.
He's only been out for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, the last injury, he was out for 3 to 4 months. So to get your fitness back after such a short period of time has got to be a lot easier. So I don't think it would be that much of a surprise if he did start.
Well, I agree. He's had a full pre-season, Laurie. This is the thing. I think we are so used to, I mean, look what happened to Tim the other day, and look at Jesus' injury last season. We're so used to thinking the absolute worst. But he was exactly what Arsenal and the medics and everyone said he was. It's a quick clean-up, couple of weeks, he'll be back. He's had a full pre-season. He looked electric against Barcelona.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of thinking with Man United next week, we've got to get a little bit of Jesus today, surely.
Yeah. I mean, initially, when I saw the interview, I was quite shocked, because I think we all agree that normally the manager, Mikel Arteta, is a bit guarded when it comes to his pre-match interviews. So for him to actually come out and say, I think the question was actually put to him, is he available? Yes. Will he start? He said, well, yeah, he could do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I mean, when he first got the injury and the club was saying it should only be a couple of weeks, a lot of people, probably myself included, was a little bit sceptical, thought, you know what, probably going to be more than just a few weeks. But if he is back, that's great news for Arsenal.
Yeah, I completely agree. Tottenham have kicked off their second half. They are 1-0 up, a James Maddison goal put them ahead. And we were just talking about James Maddison. I mean, the fact they picked him up for 40 million. And this is why the pressure is there on players like Kai Havertz. It's not his fault. Kai Havertz didn't choose his price tag. Kai Havertz didn't choose for Arsenal to buy him and for Tottenham to go and sign Maddison and all that. But he's made a good start, and that's why there's that upped pressure on him.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, you know, and you made a very, very good point. That perhaps the reason they didn't go for Maddison is that he can't play up top. I think he could play wide. He can play in the position that he's playing. Where I think that if we bought Maddison, he would be a backup to Odegaard. I quite like Maddison. Well, I did. Don't like him no more. You know what I mean?
It was a nice goal.
So, but he seems like a nice fella and all that before he went to Spurs, and he would have been, I think, quite a good team for team spirit and everything like that. But I think that, you know, this is where the pressure comes on Havertz, because there's a lot of fans out there that did like Maddison. Why are you spending that money on him and not Maddison? But I do think that one of those things is that, say like 20 minutes from time against Crystal Palace, you're down to 10 men, you ain't going to stick Maddison up top.
I think
to hold the ball and things like that.
I think it is versatility.
So it is that little bit more versatility in different areas to what Maddison has. Like, you know, I think if you if you look at if we didn't have Odegaard, I'm pretty sure Maddison would have been playing in the red and white instead of what he's doing now.
We're heavily linked with him. Did you see Laura Woods getting stick for? She interviewed him, I think, for TNT, and she said something like, "Yeah, she really praised him," and then said, "So why Tottenham?" And people got upset, but I thought it was hilarious. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a bit of banter, isn't it? Like,
No, but it was a serious question.
Yeah.
I think she meant more like, so why Tottenham then? You know.
Well, I don't think there wasn't that many. Where were the options?
Well,
for
that's
him to
the other
go?
thing. There wasn't a queue of teams trying to pick him up.
No, because everybody. If you look at Man United, they've got two or three that can play there. They went Mount.
Yeah, what about
Chelsea,
Liverpool?
Well,
Liverpool maybe they chose McAllister.
and Zabozla.
We
could have gone there earlier. I would have. If I was Liverpool, I'd have gone in for
But
Maddison.
they chose different players, Julian. You know what I mean? That's my point. You know what I mean? You know, we're saying here that if I said the grass is green, you'd say grey. So, you know what I mean?
So the point you're making.
Yeah, these two kind of remind me of my brother, Rob.
The reason it is Spurs because I don't think there was that many options for him in the Premier League because other teams have gone down different routes.
Which is a good point. So what you're saying is he's basically been lumbered at Spurs because he had nowhere.
I never said
choices.
that, Julian. You can say that. You
Okay,
can.
that's the way I'd
feel
interpret
free
that,
to walk through
and if
Tottenham
that's
Hotspur.
how
Well,
I-
he is a quality player.
Yeah, I think he's a quality player, but
Listen, and I would go as far as to say there's a lot of people, right? A lot of people. Remember when Odegaard, we got him when he signed full time. A lot of people suggesting that maybe Maddison might be a better option than Odegaard.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
But that's proved to be. The one thing that I would say that people are a little bit reluctant with him, and that's nothing to do with ability, is he's had a couple of quite bad injuries over the last. I remember when Leicester were going for top four, he got injured and they fell out of it. And then there was last season he had another long-term injury. So I think there's a little bit of a worry from that. But listen, for 40 million, it's a bargain. I have to say that, and you have to give Tottenham, dare I say it, Daniel Levy a bit of credit, but you can't say that because.
You can.
I like Daniel Levy. I think he's done a great job.
We'll keep an eye on.
As long as he doesn't win anything, we like Daniel Levy.
Listen, you go on about Daniel, and I'll have it, anyone Spurs fans, you know what I mean? Like, to get £100 million for a 30-year-old player that could go anywhere he wanted to a year later, top business.
Fair enough. They are playing right now. They're 1-0 up at Bournemouth. We'll keep an eye on this as we're waiting for Arsenal team news to start to make its way over to us. Let me land here, Lee. The super chat is from a guy called Lee's Boldhead. It's bold with an O. So
he's bold.
You're saying you're very bold.
Very bold. Yeah, I like that. I like
stand
that.
out. That's good on
There's
it.
nothing wrong with being bold. In fact, you are in the minority.
Yeah, well, not for long.
You need to tread carefully.
Not for long, you know what I mean? Unless you go if you're going to visit Turkey. Otherwise, you know, you'll be joining us.
I think I want the Walter White look when I get to, that stage.
Okay.
But I can't grow facial hair. One day. Hashtag start Trossard. Who's in the camp? Hands up. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's find out why not.
Listen, man, Eddie, Beast, aka the Beast. He's the man in possession. What they say about possession? What do they say about possession?
2/10 of the law.
That's nine tenths of the law.
Now listen,
What on earth are you lot talking about?
if Eddie retains the shirt today, he would have retained it on merit. I think he's done very well. I think if you look at the physical attributes Eddie has, I think in terms of what the manager's looking for, I think he ticks more of those boxes than Trossard. Not to say that Trossard couldn't do that job, I'm sure he could. It's just I think Eddie's more suited to that role. Nothing wrong with being Trossard on later on in the game. He's the more technical player, possibly the better, more likely to get you a goal, I don't know. But Eddie's done very well in that position. He played well in the first game. I was at the game against Palace. He did very well. Could have got a goal. Didn't, but I think he's justified in keeping his position today.
Yeah, echo a lot of that.
Yeah, I do echo a lot of that. Like, I think the only place that Trossard gets in is, I think first and foremost, is the wide areas. Martinelli weren't great on Monday, but was fantastic against Forest. Saka, you ain't going to drop. So they're the two positions that you've got to go for. And I agree with what Laurie's saying here. You know what I mean? Eddie, you can't really drop him at the moment. He's the one that's in that role. Should have had that role in front of him at the beginning of the season. I think there's a debate for that. But, you know, the last two games, Eddie's sort of done the business. And at the end of the day, I don't think that's where Trossard's going to play. Trossard will come in, On the flanks, I think Jesus will come on before him in that role. And listen, when you've got someone like, this is what we say about Tierney leaving the club. If you're a backup striker, that's your job. You know that's your job. And when the striker gets injured, and then they start putting Trossard in there and other players, you know that it's not going to be for you. So he's backed Eddie, and that's it. You know. So.
But
where would you play Trossard? You're saying play Trossard.
Yeah,
I
would take Eddie out of the team, and he doesn't deserve that. He's been very good, and I think we tried to articulate. I think it was on the live stream the other day. It's just a case of, well, maybe I'm saying it's Cecil. I can't remember. It's just a case of, I prefer Trossard. That's all. I love pizza.
Why?
I love steak.
Why?
But I prefer one over the other. It's just.
Now, let me put you on the spot. Why?
I think Trossard is better at most things, to be honest. I think maybe he doesn't press like Eddie, but other than that,
don't train like him.
Maybe he doesn't train with that intensity. Maybe that is true, and Arteta's trying to instill that as a part of it as well in terms of the culture. But I just think he's better with both feet. I think he's a better finisher than Eddie. I think Eddie gets into more goal-scoring positions. I think he's better at linking up play. I think he gets the best out of Saka and Martinelli more so than Eddie Nketiah. I think he's far more versatile. With Eddie, it feels like he's got to. Richarlison's had a bit of a moment there, hasn't he? Oh,
that's wonderful to see.
Oh,
God!
You see that?
It's great to
He's
put
just stuck a leg out. Yes,
he's horrible, isn't he?
He must be the most repulsive player in the whole of the Premier League.
Yeah, he is, and he's playing for Spurs.
Oh,
that's brilliant.
There. And then look at this.
Yeah. He's horrible.
That's send it off.
Yeah.
Straight red.
I mean, if you look
You
at
know what?
that should be a red. If you think about what Beckham got sent off for in the '98 World Cup, and look at that.
Orange. I'd call it an orange. That was very petulant, wasn't it?
I mean, you can call it Tottenham bias, but if there's a more repulsive player in the whole of the Premier League than Richarlison, I want to know who he is.
Romario comes close.
Yeah,
it's Sankey in for Bournemouth, and they've gone across goal. Bournemouth are growing into this game. Dave Jordan says, "Wish we got Jed Spence instead of Zinchenko." Do you agree, Laurie? Very random. No, we will.
I think he's having a pop at me because I'd said back when we signed Zinchenko that it wasn't the type of signing that would get you out of your seat, whereas a Jed Spence, young, exciting player. I wasn't saying that Jed Spence was better, but I did compare them in terms of exciting the fan base. So
fair enough.
He's had a little pop. It's all good.
That's all good,
man. I can take
I
it.
think,
Dave Jordan likes to have his
that's
fun.
an interesting one today. Really,
Well, left back.
Yeah.
Well, I've been saving the kind of
is it?
the crucial topics. Let's go into them. I think there's a few. Does Partey stay at right back? Does Gabriel come back into this team? Does Zinchenko start? Does Rice sit at the base, or will Partey be moved to midfield? Does Havertz keep his spot?
I think,
Is this the most confused we've ever got?
Yes.
Can I just say before we get into the nooks and crannies of this, right? It's my opinion that pretty much whatever team we play today should beat Fulham, right? So I just want to get that out there.
Yeah.
But does the Partey thing stack up for me? No.
No, I'll agree
Does
with
Gabriel not starting stack up for me? No. So, you know what I mean? There are issues around team selection, but I don't want to hear people say, because we've beaten Fulham today, that proves that the manager's right to play Partey at right back. Because for me, it doesn't feel right for me.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll say my theory is that he is playing this system at the moment because it gets Havertz in the team. I think that if he wasn't to play, I think he'd go.
So why is he so desperate to get Havertz?
Well, because he's his new signing and everything like that, and I think that
They can't just be his new signing.
I
Why did he sign him?
His whole
No,
aim
but he
is to
signed
win
him,
football
so-
matches. It's not to put his play. I mean, they're all his players.
Yeah,
So
but there's a thing when you sign someone on big money
I
and
agree, I agree.
to come into. I think realistically, Zinchenko should come back in. Ben White go over right, like we did at the end of the game against Crystal Palace with Gabriel.
Shocker.
And we played. Look at the control that we had with that game, but we've not done that. The system that he'll play today, in my opinion, is that Partey will play right back. Kivior will come in at left back, and Zinchenko will be on the bench. And
So largely very similar, but
very similar.
okay.
But I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not my team.
But you guys keep saying don't discount the fact he's signing for 65 million, he's a new signing, he'll want to make it work. Okay, but that's just a bridge to the next question, which is why did he sign him then? So that's what I want to understand. Because we were watching some content in the week about Kai Havertz and what he brings to the team, and you see that he's won more duels than any other Arsenal player. I thought that was a goal for Bournemouth. What a strike. We see that he's won 8 duels in each of the Palace and Forest game, more than the other Premier teams. So he's getting stuck in. He's working.
Oh, I thought he'd done well on Crystal Palace. I had to watch the game again. Coming out on Monday. People were criticising.
He actually did better when we went down to 10 men.
Yeah.
Than it was before.
I agree. When he had to hold up the ball.
I didn't think he was at all better. I come out of the ground and people were going, "Oh, he's rubbish. He's done nothing."
There's people that don't understand football.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to. I thought we'd done all right, and I actually went back and watched it, and he could have got an assist in the first couple of minutes if Martinelli's touch was better.
And by the way, I rewatched that passage of play. When I first remembered it, I thought it was, he basically took a touch and passed it. But actually, Bournemouth are really cutting Spurs open here. But actually, it was a really superb bit of football. He got the ball, he had to twist around a few players, hold them off, and then find the pass out to Martinelli. I mean, if Odegaard does that, we're going, look at the class on the edge of the area. So the confidence might be growing for Havertz. So do we all agree he starts today? Not what we want.
Start. Do I agree that he should start? Actually, probably, yeah.
So
I don't think he should, but I think he will.
I think my argument with it is, I don't mind him starting and justifying doing all these different changes of system and all of that if you produce fantastic performances. I think we're changing all this style of play and all that, putting Partey at right back for Havertz to be doing okay. But if you're changing it all around, you've got to be doing more than okay.
Yeah, but there is another reason why he's changing everything around, because the players that he's bringing in are versatile, and that's one of the big reasons he brought Havertz in rather than Maddison, because Havertz can play a number of different positions. And the other thing, when you've got this versatility, you've got different players that can slot into different positions and play in a different way, we're confused. But more importantly, of us being confused, the opposition's confused. So one thing about us last season is we only really had one way to play. We only had one first 11 that we all wanted. So now what we've got this argument every week, which is great, because
we can change it around.
So we can change it around. As Laurie said, which is something I totally agree with, it doesn't really matter against Fulham. When you look at the stats on paper between the two teams, it doesn't actually matter which way we play, we should win this game.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because when you go into the Champions League, there's going to be times when you're going to play in the Champions League, the team that plays in the Premier League the next game, there's going to be changes. So they've got to get used to it and get used to like they're going to have to, do different ways of beating teams. So
well, we've got a bit of news that's coming from who I consider to be the believable and reliable ITKs.
Go-to man.
Apparently, Kivior starts, and Gabriel is going to be on the bench again. So does that almost tell us what the whole 11 is going to be?
Yeah, of course.
Because Kivior starting, but Gabriel on the bench tells me that he's starting as the left back, and it might be Kivior, Saliba, White,
if he brings in Zinchenko, right, he cannot play Partey at right back, so you then play Ben White at right back, you've got to bring in Gabriel or Kivior, right? Whatever one you have, meaning that Partey goes into the midfield, someone's got to miss out, which would be Havertz. So he's not prepared to do that, so he's prepared to
leave Zinni on the bench.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So when he's doing this, Havertz has got to be the star man. If he's not, this is when the pressure comes on.
Okay, so go on, Laurie.
As much as I'm intrigued by Havertz, I'm also intrigued by this thing with Gabriel. What's he done wrong?
I don't think he has. I really think it's tactical.
Yeah, I think it is. When you look at all those players, they're all ball playing. He is not the greatest on the ball.
And he also has made a few mistakes over the course of his career. He always had a mistake a game in him. He just used to make up for it. It's almost like the Fulham game last season. It was his mistake that led to the Fulham goal. And then he got the goal. Was it the equaliser or the winner? I can't remember.
I think.
People might think I'm overthinking this, but I think I know why Gabriel isn't starting at the moment. We tried to break it down on Tactical Insight after the Forest win. At the moment, it's normally Zinchenko at left back, and so when it's Zinchenko at left back, Gabriel's the centre back. This is off the ball. Zinni goes to left back, there's a back four, Gabriel, Saliba, White. And that's how it looks. And Zinni comes in midfield, and then that three have to shift across. Yeah. With it Partey at right back starting, they shift the other way. So even though White is technically starting centre back, and Saliba starting left centre back, and Kivior starting left back, it shifts across, and they're basically in the same positions they would be anyway. White is still drifting to the right, Saliba's still in the middle of a back three, and Kivior's more tucked in on the left. Now the thing is though, that you might think, well, why doesn't Gabriel just start a left back then? Because he's not a left back. You've got to be able to defend off the ball
he's not
there as well,
he's not that
and he
versatile.
can't do that. So what you basically get is Arteta trying to use the players that are comfortable playing left back and left centre back, so the whole thing can shift over naturally, and Gabriel misses
So
out.
that behoves me to ask my supplementary question: is that with Gabriel out the team, are Arsenal better? And I would argue they're not.
No,
Well,
they're not.
It depends
I
what
agree.
better for what? So off the ball defensively, I think he's our best defender, Gabriel. I actually still put him just above Saliba there. And in terms of raw kind of dropping into a block, defending spaces, I love him. But if we think, and we hope, that we are going to have a lot of the ball against Fulham today, then you want the players that are better passing out the back and are better in build-up. And Partey coming into midfield with Rice. I mean, guys, we keep talking about the Partey right-back thing being perplexing, but how good is a base of Partey and Rice on the ball playing, and Ødegaard and Havertz in front floating and creating? I mean, that is top-level stuff. Okay, questions about Havertz.
Can we really
2-0
say,
Tottenham.
I do understand.
Oh no, they've scored again.
Oh, look.
Can we turn it off now? It's depressing me.
Go on, you're saying, Lauren?
VAR might get involved. Hopefully it was
understand
over.
those variations, and I understand the rationale for those being put forward. What I'm about to say though is, and I know it's only 2 games, but in these 2 games that have we really seen evidence that really works?
Well, we have won both games, so that's quite good evidence.
No, but we've dominated the ball.
Yeah,
dominated the ball.
Yeah, but we were dominating the ball last season.
Yeah, that's true.
The teams.
But
last season we beat Forest 5-0.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, listen, I'm all in favour of the managers trying to be innovative and try things. And let's be honest as well, Arteta comes from that school of Pep, where, he will try things that...
Yeah, he's kept it. Udogie, the ball nearly went out of play, but
it wasn't even that close, unfortunately.
No. And Tottenham are 2-0 up. And they just stopped playing the Bournemouth defenders, didn't they?
They thought it'd gone. But the other reason of the team selection has always got to be, and this is one thing I disagreed with Arsene Wenger, he never really looked at the opposition. He played the way he wanted to play, whereas what Arteta's doing is looking at the opposition. He's got the variation and the choices on the bench and the different formations, and he's playing to that opposition. Now, one thing we know about Fulham is they're not going to have Mitrovic. So
that's true.
It's Gabriel.
But
he's a very physical player, Gabriel. So maybe he's kind of just understanding that we might not need that same area of physicality on the pitch today. So that's why he's kind of bringing, he's taking him out the team.
Maybe.
And also it's a big thing which like I don't understand to a little bit, is that we've lost Xhaka, right? And now Gabriel, we've taken two-thirds of our left side, we're taking it away. And we was very effective down that side, on the left-hand side last season. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden now, we've only got Martinelli there.
Yeah.
And, perhaps my advice to Gabriel is maybe just train a little bit harder on a week.
That's your advice?
Yeah. Right, put a little bit more effort in.
Gabriel, if you're watching this...
Are you talking about Martinelli or the centre half?
Centre back.
You talk about the centre half.
I'm not being horrible, but Julian can train a lot harder than me every week. He ain't, you know what I mean? It's not going to make him a better player, is it?
What?
Like,
but you know what? I would disagree with you slightly there, because most conventional coaches do say that you train hard, you play hard.
Yeah.
If you're trying to impress the manager.
So does Messi train hard? Listen, I'll go on to that, right, and I'll still state this, right, in America, right, at the All-Stars game, I was sitting by the corner flag. At half-time, they took Saka and Eddie off, and they were doing sprints to the edge of the box, back, to the halfway line and back. I watched just them two. I watched one putting it in,
Eddie,
and the other one just going through the motions.
Saka.
But who starts it every week?
That story gets better and better every time.
I know, but I and I do believe that. Like, it doesn't matter.
Listen, we've all heard stories about players who didn't put it in training.
I'm not saying he don't put it in training. I'm not saying that no player puts it in training. But like, what I'm saying is, right, you any manager that looks at that and goes, right, I'm doing it on training, you're heading for disaster. because it don't happen like. Because if you're telling me, because if I'm there, I'm going to work. If I'm say Reece Nelson, I'm going to say, "Oh, I've worked harder than Saka today."
But what if?
But it ain't going to get him in the team.
Hypothetically speaking, there's three of you: Trossard, Eddie, Havertz, for example. They're vying for that number 9.
So Havertz must be busting it through in training at this moment. Is that what you're saying?
No.
He's won the most duels.
I'm not saying I'm not having a go at it. I'm just saying
so. Things like Arteta really values hard work and training.
Yeah, he does.
Doing the hard work.
Every good manager should.
Of course I do, but at the end of it, I'm telling you that now. I don't think Saka's the best trainer in the world.
Why?
Really?
Because
I
see that.
But that was just like a 30-second moment in his life.
Well,
you can't judge it on one moment. He might have known you were watching.
In pre-season,
he's making a whole judgment on a guy for 30 seconds.
Right? In pre-season, you work and get your fitness up as. Saka didn't, right? Like, I'm not having a cut at Saka. I'm just saying because he's a better player. He knows he's going to play.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter what he does.
The point I'm trying to make. Okay, let's take.
He's going to do enough to get him through.
Let's take, for example, and I don't want to dwell on it.
Thanks for your super chat, by the way. You carry on. I'm going to interrupt you when the lineup comes out, which is very soon.
Right. So you got Eddie, for example, and Trossard. They're vying for that number 9 spot, and you're the manager. You're observing them in training, yeah. And you're looking at Eddie, absolute beast in training, to use that.
You go with Eddie,
right? And he's doing them numbers. Physically, looks on point. Trossard's looking good, but he's not. You're looking at them too, and you think, you know what? Eddie looks a little bit more at it. You're probably going to go with Eddie.
I go with that.
Unless there's a big gulf.
100% go with that.
Unless there's a big gulf to say.
And I get that. But what I'm saying is, if it's out of Jesus and Eddie,
he's going to be Jesus every time.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter about it.
That's why I said
that is what I'm saying.
Big gulf. I'm saying if you've got 2 guys.
Yes, 100%.
Have we got the team yet?
The 11's come out any second. I've just seen a potential little leak, but we're a minute away. Just very quickly, Arteta on Gabriel has said, of course I've explained to him why he's not in the team, especially someone who has played a lot of minutes and games with us in the last year. I told him he understands the reasons. Whether he agrees with it is something different, but the best way to do it is when you play. Just tell me how blind and wrong I am. That is from the manager. There are rumours of a surprise start, which I'm waiting for Arsenal to confirm. I hate to say it, but they're looking quite good, aren't they?
Do you know why they're looking good?
Why?
Because they're only playing Bournemouth.
But they're playing the same team week in, week out, like we did at the beginning of the season, and they're playing teams at this moment in time
that are weaker than them.
That I'd expect Arsenal to beat and them.
Yeah.
So then if they're playing the same players,
I expect us to beat Man United next week, Robert. Laurie, sorry, you're better than Robert.
in all departments.
Arsenal. We have the 11, everyone.
I don't know about all departments.
We have the 11. And Ramsdale keeps his place.
Who does?
Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah,
we've got as goalkeeper.
Okay. Sorry.
Partey at right back. Ben White, William Saliba and Kivior make up the rest of the back four.
There you go.
Rice, Ødegaard, Havertz in the midfield 3. Saka, Martinelli and Leandro Trossard leads the line for Arsenal today.
Okay.
That is your starting 11.
It's good.
Trossard's back, people.
It's good.
Watch him drop a disaster class.
No, it'll be good.
No, mate,
I'm delighted.
Is Eddie on the bench or he's not well?
He's on the bench.
So
Raya, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Jorginho, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Nketiah, Jesus.
That bench is just incredible.
I'd love to know what the rationale is behind.
I think it's just freshening it up all the time, horses for courses. Maybe we're going to have more of the ball today.
Well,
I think we play a lot better. I think we play I'm going to be really honest now, and there's nothing against Eddie. I think we play a little bit more free flow, be more natural. You know what I mean? Where I don't think that we have that when Eddie plays.
In the Barcelona game was the last time Trossard and Havertz started together, because I don't think they played in the friendlies together. It could be a red card. It could be a red card for Tottenham here. We'll keep up to date.
Oh yes, he's off.
And who is that, Son?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's off. Whoever it is, he's off.
Play over 20.
It's a red card.
Well, I don't know if he's going to his. Nothing. They're allowing it to go on.
So do you know when Xhaka got done for just pushing a player like that? You know what I mean?
I can't understand how Richard.
He's raised his hands. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't do this. Wow. Anyway, when they started in pre-season together, Havertz and Trossard, they were alternate. Trossard was up top, Havertz, sorry, I'm lying. Trossard was on the left, Havertz was in the middle, and Jesus was up top. But they kept alternating.
Yeah.
So Havertz would go up front, and then Trossard would drop into the midfield, and Jesus would pull wide. Don't be surprised if throughout this game, Trossard is actually the one picking up the ball in midfield, combining, trying to make things
Swapping
happen.
it around a little
and
bit.
it's Havertz either making late runs into the box, or actually leading the line, or maybe giving us an outlet to go long.
Or could it be, James? It just comes down to the simple fact that the manager wants to rotate and give Trossard an opportunity to show what he can do.
But both things are true. So in game, what I think they'll do is that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he just wants to horses for courses, mix it up.
Yeah, you can't have a player of that ability and putting in those performances on the bench for too long.
In a week.
It's not just about training hard. It's about that he hasn't. He hasn't had an opportunity. And he was our star man for pre-season. He was the one that came on and changed the game when in the Charity Shield. He was the one that bossed the game against Barcelona.
I've got no.
I think this starts.
Have you got the Fulham team?
I will do in a sec.
I will say one thing. Can I just say one thing? My mate brought this up yesterday. Chelsea spent all that money, right? You had a look at their bench yesterday. There was only one player I recognised on it. All that money they spent. You have a look at Arsenal's bench now. It's very, very strong. So over the course of the last year or two, the manager has really built up a squad depth of real strength. You know, I mean, when I look back a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago, there was a couple of young kids on the bench every week, and we, like just fillers is the word that you called.
Yeah.
But now every one of them can come on and do a job.
Yeah.
So there's a very, very strong squad at Arsenal now.
As I said at the top of the show, with no disrespect to Fulham, but whatever team he selects today, I expect them to beat Fulham.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I'm happy with the team, by the way. I would have started Eddie because I think he deserves. To continue in that role, but I've got absolutely no problem with
He did miss a couple of good chances. He did, you know what I mean?
He had to be there to miss them. And
but I think if you're ready today, you're going to be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah,
especially with Jesus.
That's what we want. That is what we want.
I'm not as much as disappointed as Gabriel, though.
Let's go through the Fulham team. Leno's in goal. Tete right back with Diop. Bassi comes in, signing from. He was at Ajax, wasn't he? Rangers, then Ajax.
He was 20 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then Robinson at left back. He's a very good up and down left back. Palhinha, Lukic, and Andres Pereira in midfield. Palhinha very good. Yeah. Wilson, I think, will play on the left. Raul Jimenez up top, and it'll be Wilson on the right. Decordova-Reid on the left.
Jamaican international.
Yeah,
scored for
and Raul Jimenez leading the line. Vinicius on the bench, Adama Traore on the bench, and a few others we recognise, Reed and Babu.
I think Fulham will struggle.
Not starting, interesting.
I think Mitrovic was a big thing for them.
I think it was.
Yeah, but they've adjusted the way they play, so they'll look to have more possession now because they can't just hit Mitrovic up top.
They weren't terrible in possession.
No, it was a good footballing side, but they had that.
They had the outlet, didn't they?
They had that sharpness up front. I'm watching Bournemouth here. They play some good stuff, but they've got no threat. They've got no threat.
Edge. All right, well, we're going to just go through the lineup one more time and give you the bench, and then of course we'll be live for the watch along in about 25 minutes. Ramsdale starts in goal. Partey, White, Saliba, and Kivior comes in. So we've gone from Timber's injury, Tomiyasu's red card, Kivior in. And Gabriel obviously still on the bench. Rice, Ødegaard, Havertz the midfield, but I think you're going to see a lot of Partey actually playing in midfield today. Saka, Martinelli and Trossard gets his first start of the season. Didn't start in the Community Shield or the opening 2 Premier League games, but has made a massive difference whenever he has come on and has probably been the player of pre-season as well. On the bench, Raya, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Jorginho, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson and Ketia Jesus give Arsenal a lot of options as Bournemouth come forward here. They're going to get shot away.
I will say that I'm pleased for Kivior because I think he's done well since he came in the back end of last season.
I like him.
And he's been used sparingly, hasn't he?
Yeah, sparingly.
There was a lot of talk when he came in, him being the fastest.
Yeah, Mina had a run at the end of last season.
Training hard.
Well, I think so.
Breaking the treadmill.
Obviously, he's trained very hard this week. Obviously, Kearney's, been playing cards.
Tierney.
Huh?
You mean Tierney?
Tierney, who did I say?
Kearney.
Tierney.
Kieran Tierney will allow.
Has he actually left now?
It's not as bad as Victorious Jr. That will always be my favourite. All right, do you want to do some score predictions? Do you want to?
I'm going to go 3-0 and I'll be very disappointed. Very disappointed. I say it every time if we concede.
What did I say on for last night? I actually cannot.
4-0, you said.
Did I? What an idiot. Julie.
No, I think you're right. I think 4-0.
Yeah,
I'd be over the moon.
I mean, I think there's going to be a 4 in the score. When you look at the history of what we've done to them over the years, we've beaten them 4-0, 4-1 on a number of occasions. So I'm going to go for 4-1 because we don't tend to keep clean sheet at home.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Go on, Laurie.
I expect Arsenal to win this game fairly comfortably. Fulham were horrific last week. I think they could even struggle this season. They lost Mitrovic. I mean, it weren't that long ago. People were talking that the manager was going to leave. So there are.
He was going to go to Saudi, wasn't he?
He was linked.
Yeah, listen. At least 2-0.
It's going to be tough for Fulham now. Like, you lose all those goals, and your talisman up front. I think.
But look what Spurs have done. They've lost Kane. They look better for it.
They look a lot better, but I'm not sure because Kane was the problem. I think they finally got a manager who doesn't want to put.
They've always had good players, Spurs. You know what I mean? They've got
like the bench, everything.
You know, like they've got
so there we go.
Attacking players now.
All right, everyone will be live in 25 minutes or so, 20 minutes for the watch along. Of course, everyone here, Turkish, Laura will be back, and many others reacting to the starting 11 once more, looking ahead to what Fulham might offer, and live reactions as all the goals and key moments happen here on AFTV. So do subscribe to the channel, and you'll get alerts when we are going live, of course. And yeah.
That's a bonus. The old Spurs fans are going to get wet. At least they're going to get wet.
But the rain could be coming here. I haven't got a jacket.
Oh, here he goes.
Well,
it's such a charm.
It doesn't just rain in Bournemouth, does it?
Well, sometimes it does. It might just miss us, like, you know what I mean? I've always take consolation that hopefully they've got the 3 points, but they're all going to get soaked.
And hopefully Bournemouth score 3 in the last 15
that ain't
minutes.
going to happen.
Might do.
Right.
It is Spurs. Could happen.
Julian, thank you.
Pleasure.
Catch you in a bit for the watch along.